homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, trouble in paradise. Always trouble in paradise. Just homesteading's just one catastrophe after another, and how you put it out. Jumping little brush fires. Anyway, I came out Saturday. This is Tuesday. I came out Saturday and my bush hog wouldn't turn. Here's what it looks like when it's running. Okay, it's just spinning, the PTO spinning, but the bush hog itself, or the rotary cutter, you know, bush hog is a brand. I just have a habit of calling it a bush hog because the kind we had when I was a kid was called a bush hog. Anyway, this rotary cutter is spinning, but there's nothing in there. It's not turning the blades. Okay, the PTO spinning, but the blades aren't turning. So a couple of things could have happened. Number one, this unit right here could be bad. Now that's about $350. There's also another option, and you can't see it because of the cowl and stuff on this, so I've got to get this cowl and stuff off in order to get to stuff and see what might be doing this. But I'm going to bring you over here. I've got one of the windows down, so we'll go look at that. Well, I was going to show you, but you can't see anything from there, so or at least I can't show you with the video. There is a set of plates in there that are on this PTO shaft, and the way they do, they sit like this and they rub together. Now when the PTO is turning and the bush hog is turning, they stay together like this. Okay, they're kind of little clutch plates. They stay together like this. But when the PTO hits something solid, to keep from breaking the PTO on my tractor, or to keep from breaking the gear head or all that, then these will move. Okay, they're pushed up tight, but then they'll move to keep from breaking something on your rotary cutter. Well, I've got to get in here. Now this says Mahindra on it, but when you take the manual out, which I've got it in the house and didn't bring it back out with me, when you take the manual out, it's in a little tube right here. It's a King Cutter. So King Cutter is the manufacturer of this rotary cutter. Even though it has a Mahindra label on it, King Cutter's the manufacturer. They just painted it red. So let's get into this and see if we can figure out what's tore up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this thing off the tractor, because the tractor's in the way and I need to get around to stuff. So that's where I'm going to start. start off, I took the PTO loose. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and take that off and get it out of my way. Now, just so you know, these PTO shafts, okay, all they are is a universal joint that swivels in both directions. It'll swivel this way, and that way. That's all they are, and they're connected. I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably not. There's a tube in there, and it's only turned in one direction. So while I've got this off and these are handy, I'll probably go ahead and grease these universal joints too while I'm here. I still can't see up in there, so I'm going to go ahead. I've never done this before. Okay, this is just something new for me. I decided to try and film it because I had never done it before. So I'm going to take and figure out how to get the shroud off, and then we'll get started. Okay, folks, this is how you remove a PTO cover. You just get a hold of it and then push right here. You'll hear it click, and I'd already pushed 2 of them. And then that just slides back. It just held here on with this ring. So I've got the PTO cover off, but what that's revealed is something I didn't want to see. So let's have a look. And if we look right in there, it goes straight to the PTO shaft. There is no cover. There is no slip clutch. Okay? So that means that unit is busted. That is not what I wanted to hear. So let's start getting this whole thing apart. Okay, I just pulled everything back out of my way. I took off the extra shaft length. And now I'm going to just rotate this. But the thing is, do you hear that? It's just rotating. And the thing underneath is not moving. I want to get this up a little more and see what's going on. Oh, got a squirrel. See what's going on. It's not going to be pretty, okay? It's not going to be a pretty operation. Your hands are going to get greasy and nasty. But the very first thing I need to do is get all this off so that I can tell what's going on. So that's where I'm going to start. Okay. This shaft is held on by a 3/4 inch bolt. So I'm going to pop this up, do that one, so that they're going to be out of my way. Do I have to have one on both sides? Oh, I probably will. It looks like it's a lock nut, so I might have to use my impact wrench on it, but I'm gonna give it a shot without it. Let me go get another sock. You know, scratch that for a second. This is breaking my back doing this down on the ground. So I'm gonna get this thing up off the ground where I can work on it. Okay, people ask you, why do you need a truck? Okay, but I will tell you one thing. I lifted that with the bucket forks, and I probably should have put some weight, a counterweight on the back, because it wanted to be tippy. So, kind of scared me there once. I thought, well, hope. But anyway, now it's up off the ground, and I can work on it a little bit. I just have to make sure it's not in a place where it'll slide off there, because I don't need that. So, go here and check something. Yeah, it'll slide right off there. Okay, that's not going to be good. It's got to be pushed back further. No, I think I know what I'm going to do. Saw how it slid back there? Yeah, that's what I was afraid it would do. So what I did was I put the forks of the tractor up on the bed of the truck and let the pressure off, but it's still flat on the bed of the truck, so that can't slide off. I've set the emergency brake on the tractor, left it in gear, so that's not going to come off there now. Okay, I got in here, and what I have discovered is that right here, there's generally a safety mechanism. My manual doesn't say anything about a shear pin, but I'm tickled to death that this tractor has a shear pin. It appears to be a roll pin. Get it turned around here. See, there's part of it sticking out on this side, but if I go back here, look at there. It's not there. Okay? It's missing. So, I'm going to tap that shear pin out and see if I can find me one. All you got to do to tap it out is just take a punch and a hammer and tap that baby out. So, let's see what we can do. shear pin ain't broke. So it's not the shear pin. Oh. I'm going to drive that shear pin back in. Now I'm totally confused. It appears to be spinning and spinning free. There was nothing hung up under it. I still bet that my problem is this head. But the truth is, if you look down in this hole, it's all spinning. Does it slip when I jam it up? No. Okay, I'm confused. I don't understand. Why wouldn't it work a little while ago and it works now? Because I'm not putting the torque on it that the tractor does. Well, let's get under the bottom and see if it could have been hung on something. Okay, it's not the shear pin up here. It's not the bolt. Now it's turning, but you can bet it's failing when the power of the bush hog is turning it. So let's get up under the bottom. I'm hoping it's just a pin that's come loose on the king pin, on the king nut. But let's get up under here and see. Oh, when you're my age, invest in one of these mats. It's the best $10 you'll ever spend. This old ground's hard on an old guy. Here we are up under the bottom. This is the king pin. The reason to do that, it's got like a little crown. It's got a cotter pin through it. I thought perhaps that cotter pin had sheared off and letting this spin. But really, all it holds on is the nut, the cotter pin. It doesn't take any force. So right now this thing is turning, but I wonder what's going to happen when I actually put some pressure on it. I don't know why it's turning now, but wasn't turning earlier. My cotter pin wasn't broke, my shear pin wasn't broke, so that leaves me with two options. Either there's another shear pin up in here, which is possible, but I hear the whole thing turning. Do you hear it? See, you can see the shaft turning. See, here's the shaft. See it laying there? See, the shaft is even turning. So, that pretty well leaves me with one alternative. And it's probably that box is messed up. I wouldn't imagine that the amount of fluid in it, I check the fluid every spring. I wouldn't imagine that the amount of fluid in it, because it's just a gearbox. It's not, doesn't have a clutch and all that stuff in it. So it's just a straight gearbox. If I can find the exploded diagram, I'll show it to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those covers off, and I'm going to connect this bush hog back up to the tractor. Let me move these back in a little bit so that they don't get in the way of me taking the forks off. They'll sling back out there if they spin. I don't see anything up in here. There's nothing back up in there that I can feel that might have been had it jammed up. So I don't know. I'm betting that when I put pressure on it with a tractor, I'm betting dollar to donuts that it don't spin, because the gearbox is messed up. But there's only one way to find that out now. I've got all the covers off. I can see everything. You shouldn't never run these without covers. It's kind of dangerous. So, yeah. Don't do it. I'm going to do it, but you shouldn't. Alright. Ooh, boy. I was concerned about the gearbox that I didn't look at the other end of the tractor, at the other end of the driveline. If you look right here, right there, you'll see where a shear pin's supposed to be. Let me get this out of the way. There is supposed to be a shear pin right there. Well, I've pulled that back because there was no shear pin, and what was happening was this had pulled back, and it was sitting there like this. And you can see where it's been running and hitting the edges. Okay? That had pulled back, and how long ago that shear pin came out, I don't know. Could have been recent, could have been a long time ago. But that is why it was spinning. So what it was actually doing was it was taking this case, let's pick it up here. It was taking this case and just making the case spin. And all that was holding was this case. The metal had come out of this. So all it was holding was this case, and it was just spinning. And the case would spin enough to make that spin, but it wasn't enough to be strong enough to make the other stuff spin. So it was just making the two cases spin. So that's a relief. I didn't tear up a $300 gearbox. $350 I think is what they cost. So now I just have to go to Tractor Supply and locate me a roll pin to drive in there. And it goes in like this. That's easy enough to find. I might even have one here. I think I've got a roll pin kit. It is always the simple stuff. It's generally never the hard stuff first. You should consider the simple stuff first. The simple thing was that I should have looked at both ends of this drive line and seen if I had a roll pin out. Did I do that? Nope. That would have been the smart thing to do. Well, it is me, you know. Anyhow, you got to see the intricacies of a bush hog today anyway. So, I'm sorry, rotary cutter. I keep getting corrected for that, but you know, bush hog is a brand name. Rotary cutter is what they are. A bush hog rotary cutter, or a bush hog tiller. With these little Mahindras, what I've come to understand is that the tiller is a king cutter. The bush hogs are king cutters. They're just painted red. You know, king cutter's yellow. These are painted red. And then they've got the Mahindra stickers put on them. Now, before I go, I was just starting to put everything back together, and I was thinking about it, and to be honest, some people would say all you got to do is put a bolt in here. That is the wrong way to go. You need a shear pin, because this protects $8,000 worth of tractor transmission and $350 to $400 worth of gears. Okay? Get a shear pin. Do not put a bolt in that. Okay? It's just a fiscally irresponsible. You can be shade tree all you want to, or hillbilly, or whatever you want to call it, but what you're gonna be is dangerous. Okay? Get the correct shear pin to go in these. Okay, today is the definition of a good day. I started the day thinking, well, I may have to replace that $350 box on my tractor, on my bush hog rotary cutter, and wound up only having to replace a roll pin on my PTO shaft. That is a good day. $2.19. This is what it is. It's a 5/16 by 2.5 inch spring pin. So it has been a good day. Now all you do is you hammer that in. So I'm going to pull this up here and set it up, and you can watch. There's just a hole right here. I'm going to do it from the other side because this has got some burrs on it. There's a hole right here that the pin needs to be driven into. Here's my PTO shaft. Now the reason I didn't pick up on that right off, and I should have, okay? But when I was a kid, these PTO shafts were square. And all the tractors we had, and I don't want to do that much, I just want to line that hole up. There we go. That hole's lined up. These PTO shafts were square. And so when you, this end, the one that goes up by the tractor, this was welded on. Okay, it wasn't, you didn't have these covers and stuff over them. This was welded on. So when we used one of these, when you had to buy this part, you had to buy this whole thing. It came with a shaft on it. You bought it with a shaft on it. And the only part that had the shear pin was up near the head of the implement. Okay, so this one, this is not really a shear pin, it's just a roll pin, but this would fail hopefully before your gear on your tractor, but I don't think so. Because of the shape of this, I don't think this is going to fail before the gears on your tractor or the gears on that cutter head on that gearbox would fail. Kind of makes me wonder about whether I need to get a clutch for this. Clutch is just $100. So now you just line the hole up where you can see all the way through. Ow. Come on. Get in there. You can do it till it's flush. When you turn it over, it's flush on both sides. Okay? Now, that's ready to go back together. And instead of a $350 project this morning that was heavy labor, I had a $2.19 project that was minor labor. Now I can get 6 hours of grass mowed and get back to farming. Okay? Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. If you click the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays. Now, with that being said, I need to get this back together and mow about 3 hours worth of grass. Be pretty.